Hello guys, good morning, and how are you? I hope you're doing good at home and staying safe. So for today's lesson is rewrite a story, and this is basically the short story that you're going to learn how to write. Our title for this lesson is Rewrite a Story of Grammar and Writing class. And for this, we're going to go to page 166W. So in here, you will get different ideas and how to get started with your writing. So we're going to start with our first step, which is pre-write. So in here, you will decide what to change. So on page 166, you will get started writing your own story. In there, you will see a chart of the Frankenstein story and your own story. So as I shared with you when we talked about this lesson before, that I want you guys to share and write a story for your own. And it doesn't necessarily have to be terror, uh, fiction novel or story, or the character. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. I prefer it doesn't, um, you don't write about a terror character or story. Prefer for you to think about a new character and a fictional character on your imagination, but doesn't necessarily have to be a terror fiction character, please guys. And for this, you will get started writing your own story and decide what to change in your version of the story. It helps to create a chart to compare the original story with your new version. So for this, you will see that chart, and in the chart, you will see the different details they give of the new story and the story already written by this author who is giving us all the details on how Victor created Frankenstein. So in this chart, you can go ahead and put your own details of your own story and your own character. So for this to get started, on step 2, you will plan your characters. So how will your characters be the same as the characters in the original version? How will they be different? Create a web for each important character. Write down details about the characters like adjectives, how do they look, how do they feel in the story. So for this step, you will plan your characters. It helps you on page 166W. It gives you a web. It gives you an example of a web that they, in the middle, it's actually the creature that was created in this Frankenstein story. But in this case, you will change it, guys. It helps you make a web just like on this page, but you will change all your details and your characters will be different. Like I said, I prefer that they can be any type of fictional characters except terror characters or scary story. So I prefer not for you not to write about a scary story or characters, but it can be any other fictional type of character, guys. So it helps you make a web just like the book shows you. So you can put all your ideas and plan your characters just like the book shows us. And then on the same page, guys, it's plan your setting. The step 3 of how to rewrite a story is plan your setting. On the same page, 167W, it gives us the information about how to plan this setting of your story. It gives us also a web. It gives us information about what do you think will be your setting. It's up to your imagination, to your creativity, and you can fill out this web also, just like the one that book shows us. Where does your story take place? And think about a perfect scenario for your story. Remember to make it interesting to the reader with a lot of details. Fill out a web like the example on this page with details about where and when your story takes place. So remember, guys, the setting is the time and the place where the story occurs. So this is up to your imagination. You decide where will be the scenario. It can be the beach, it can be a castle, it can be the forest, it can be any type of scenario you would like your story to take place. It can be a big city. So think about it and be creative with your setting of your story. Then we go to step 4, guys, to plan your plot, page 168W. So in this step is basically, what is your story about? What will be the entertaining plot you will write about? What will happen in your story? So for this, you have to be very creative, put all the details you want. So on this page, you will see how to plan your story. Make sure your plot centers on a problem that the characters have to solve. This is very important, guys, because this will maintain the reader entertained, and he or she will like to read more about what is your story about and what will happen. Make it interesting, up to your imagination, and focus on making a short story, not necessarily fiction, terror, characters, or plot. So this is what I was saying to you in the previous slide, that make a short story, not necessarily fiction, guys. I prefer not to be fictional terror or characters that are terror characters or scary characters. I prefer not to. And I prefer for you to decide on making a fictional story of your own and characters of your own imagination, and decide how they can be very creative characters, and characters, maybe you can create a new one, and they can have different type of details and different type of emotion to the, it can give different type of emotion to your story. So use plot diagram like the one on this page to help you create a strong plot that keeps readers engaged. So this part is very important, guys, for you to remember. So you can do what exactly is on page 168. The plot diagram helps you decide what your story will be about. So to create a strong plot and keep the readers engaged means to make a creative story, make it entertaining, make it a strong story that will have a turning point and a very emotional ending. So it's up to your imagination, guys. Remember, the plot of a story is made up of the problem, of the important events, and the resolution. The plot is a lot like a roller coaster. It goes up and down, guys. And this is very important for you to remember. So I will expect for you guys to make a very entertaining and very awesome story. So step 5, guys, choose point of view, page 169W. Go to this page and then you will read how to decide from what point of view will you tell the story? How will you narrate it? Will you tell a story from a third person point of view? Will you be the first person and tell a story as a principal character? Or will you be just a narrator? Remember, a narrator can only tell what he or she knows. You can look at the different points of view on this page to get an idea. So you decide, guys, do you want to be the principal character that tells the story throughout beginning and end of it, or will you just be a narrator? Remember that a narrator can only tell what he or she knows, so it's not a lot of information they give. Or also you can be a third person, so somebody that's not included in the story. So you put emotion to this point of view. You decide which of these will you be, and you decide exactly what the idea of how exactly do you want to narrate your story. 6, guys, this is the most important, the draft. I think this is the most important step, and we look at it at page 170W. We look at this as a very important step because now that you created all your ideas, now that you know the overall directions of your story, you can start writing. So this is the most important step. Now that you created your plot, your setting, your characters, and your point of view, you then go and create and write your draft. So it says, use your previous plans to craft your story. Use your plot diagram. Follow the plan you laid out on your plot diagram to keep your story organized. Add characters and setting details. Give plenty of details to make your story come to life. Most importantly, read your draft. Make sure you put in an exciting turning point. Add more details if it's necessary to the characters and setting of your story. So in this, you can start writing, but then you can get in a different idea. So you can go ahead and change it. Maybe you want to change a character. Maybe you want to change the setting. Maybe you want to change a little bit of the plot. So in this draft, you can go ahead and write anything you want, and you can change as much as you want in your story. This is why it's called a draft. So remember, you have to do a lot of thinking on this draft. You have to do a lot of, you have to have a lot of imagination. So remember, guys, that this is a very important step to your story. Then on step 7, guys, revise page 172W. So here you will revise your draft. Remember that you can use your edit and proofread chart, and you can use your marks so you can revise your draft. So as you revise your draft, keep in mind your audience and purpose for writing. Do you want to make the reader laugh or to be in suspense as they read? Next, evaluate your work. Then you can read the story to someone else. It can be your mom, your dad, or a sibling. So this is something you can do also at home, guys. Now that you're with your family on this period of our lives, you can go ahead and decide if you want to share it with someone at home. And maybe they can give you new ideas, and also maybe they can tell you what is interesting, what is relevant in the story, or something maybe that you want, they think that you can take off your story also. So did he or she draw what you imagine of your story? Did they create an image on their mind of your story? You can ask them that. You can ask them, what do you think? What did you imagine when I was reading my story? Next, was the story interesting? Any part of the story confusing? You can also ask them this. Was any part of the story confusing? Is it, I didn't explain it well. Do you think it's confusing? Do you think it's going to confuse the reader? You can ask them this, and they will be able to tell you if there are parts of the story that are confusing or not. Then, does it sound like you? Is the voice clear and understandable to the reader? So, make these questions to yourself and to the person you share your story to. It can be somebody at home, or it can be also a classmate. You can go ahead and ask a classmate through chat or to Zoom, to any type of platform. You can go ahead and share it with them so they can tell you if the story is interesting, if it has something to be changed, something confusing, etc. So this is very important for you to revise your draft, guys. Next, and this is something also important, edit and proofread. So now, after you revise your story, the step number 8 is edit and proofread. You will find this on page 174W. Once your story is clear and interesting, as you hoped it will be, Read it again to fix language errors and grammar mistakes. Now it's time to edit and proofread your work. So now get ready to proofread your work, guys. Check the grammar, check the spelling, check the mechanics. Remember to use the proofreading marks table on page 174W to correct mistakes on your paragraph. So this is the same table, guys, that we've been seeing through Unit 1 and Unit 2. And it's a proofreading marks table. This is very important for you to use. Maybe you forgot a comma, a period. Maybe you didn't capitalize what it had to be capitalized. So remember, this is very important for you to proofread your draft and correct any mistakes on grammar and spelling, guys. And last, publish, share, and reflect. This is step 9, guys. And this you will find it on page 178W. So after you revise your draft, after you edit and proofread your draft, you will get ready to publish and share and reflect. But in this case, it will be actually a great thing to publish it on school, but since we are not in school at this moment, you will have to share it. So you have to share with me through an email or through any type of way that you want to send it to me. It can be any type of platform also that you're using, or through Cloud Campus also. So now get ready to publish it. You worked hard to get to this point. Rewrite your own story. Share it in your own unique way, and remember to be clear while you read it. In this case, you will share it to me to revise and score your draft and make sure you follow the steps. So in this case, like I said, you will share it to me. Once your story is already edited and proofread, you will make a very neat last edition of your story. It can be your final paragraph, how we call it, without mistakes and without any type of errors. So it has to be neat. It has to be understandable. It has to be very interesting. And I know you guys can write a very good, interesting, and awesome story. I know you guys have a lot of imagination. I know you guys have a lot of awesome ideas that you can put on your story, guys. I know you can do this, and I trust you guys. I believe in you guys, and I know you guys can make a great job. And finally, guys, God bless you. I know you can do a great job. And remember this verse: I can do all things throughout Christ who strengthens me. This is Philippians 4:13. And remember this verse, guys: to do anything you want, remember that God is with you and God is the one who strengthens you. So take care, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video. And I hope it helps you to create a very awesome story. Bye, guys.